The time response of first order system. The response of the first order system with unit step. So first order system, we have taken an example which is a first order system, and the order is decided on the based of chaotic equation. Whatever the higher power of s in the chaotic equation will decide the order of the system. So in this case it is s to the power of 1, so it is first order system. And if I rearrange the equation, I get C of s is equal to R of s divided by st plus 1. And since we are using a unit step input, so R of s is equal to 1 by s. Now C of s is equal to 1 divided by s into s capital T plus 1. So what we are trying to find, we are trying to find the response of the first order system. That is the what will be the output response. The output response is C of t. And when you see this equation, it is everything is in the s domain. Everything is written in terms of s domain. I need to convert it into time domain. So C of s is equal to 1 by s minus t divided by 1 plus st. Now taking Laplace inverse, C of t is equal to 1 minus e power minus small t divided by capital T. Now when small t is equal to capital T, the value that we get is 1 minus e power minus 1. So the value is 0.632. So where t is known as the time constant and defined as the time required for the signal to attain 63.2% of the final or steady state value. Now the time constant indicates how fast the system reaches the final value. Smaller the time constant means faster is the system response. Now let us assume that the data has a value of k magnitude, a constant value, and in the equation the only changes is that the k will be multiplied with the first order system, that is 1 minus e power minus t by t. Again here the 1 is a steady state value and e power minus t divided by t is the transient state value. So an amplitude of k is multiplied to both steady state as well as to the transient state. Now when t, the small t is equal to the capital T, we already know from the previous slide it is 63.2%, that is around 63 percentage we get as. So this is a waveform for, so this is a waveform. In this waveform when k is equal to 1 and t is equal to 1.5 seconds, I'm getting this 63.63%. If I vary the value of k, now this percentage will vary. Now in this diagram, uh, to achieve its final value it takes 5 time constant. So let us assume this is the first order system. So we have C of t is equal to 1 e power minus t divided by t. Now if I substitute t, I get 63.2%. If I substitute t in this equation, if I substitute 2t, I get 86.5%. If I substitute 3t, I get 95%. If I substitute 4t, I get 98%. If I substitute 5t, I get 99.3%. So the meaning is, now the steady state value is this, the actual and the final value. To reach this value, I require 5 times time constant. Now similar to the previous slide, the response of the first order system with unit ramp function is considered. So the input is unit ramp and the first order system is considered same. That is C of s divided by R of s is equal to 1 by s capital T plus 1. So since it is a unit ramp, we are considering 1 by s square. So the final equation of output response of C of s is 1 divided by s square into 1 plus s into capital T. Now if I need C of t, that is the output response of the system, so I'll use a partial fraction for this. So it is C of s is equal to 1 by s square minus t by s plus t divided by s plus 1 by t. Uh, we need to write in this format, that is s plus 1 by t, because for the conversion from Laplace transform, that is s domain, to the t domain will be easier. Now by taking Laplace transform, the final equation that we get, that is c of t as t minus capital T plus t into e power minus t by capital T. Now we know that error signal is nothing but input signal minus the output signal is error signal. So input signal r of t is a function of time. What about the output signal c of t? C of t we got it here, that is nothing but t minus small t minus capital T plus t into e power minus t divided by capital T. Now the final equation, this and this get cancelled. So the final equation e of t is equal to t into 1 minus e power minus t divided by capital T. The steady state error limit, that is t tends to infinity, is nothing but t minus t e power minus t by capital T, which is equal to time constant. Now the steady state error is equal to time constant, where t is the time constant of the system. The smaller the time constant, steady state error will be small and the speed of the response will increase. Now in the diagram, as you can see, the output c of t is shown. Now this blue line indicates the unit ramp and this green line indicates the ramp response, and the difference between this blue line and the green line is the error. So, and we have considered the system, that is a first order system, and you just take k as an amplitude. Now you just multiplying k to the whole first order system output response. So for k is equal to 1 and t is equal to 1 second, I am getting this waveform. Now response of the first order system with unit impulse function. The input is unit impulse function, then it is r of s is equal to 1. So again we are considering the same system, first order system. For that we are adding an input, that is r of s, which is 1. So the final equation we get is c of t is equal to 1 by t e power minus t divided by capital T. That is, for this equation, if I apply Laplace transform, I get the value in exponential term. Now the output response is this. For the impulse, since it is e power minus t with exponential decay, at some part of time duration it becomes 0. So what do we understand from all this? We understood that for a unit ramp it is r of t ut of t, that is that if I differentiate it I get into unit step. If I further differentiate it, I get a derivative of that is unit impulse in input. Similarly, with respect to the output, if I derivative of c of t in unit ramp is unit step, again further derivative of unit step is unit impulse. So by comparing all three responses, it is clear that unit step input is the derivative of unit ramp input and unit impulse input is the derivative of unit step input. This is the property of LTI system. Now in linear time invariant system, the relation of standard test systems are shown in the slide. So from impulse to step, from step to ramp, and from ramp to parabolic. If I integrate it, it moves in this order. If I differentiate it or derivative of parabolic, I get a ramp. Derivative of ramp, I get a step. Derivative of step, I get a impulse. Now the time response of second order system. Now analysis of second order system. So in the slide we have the second order system standard equation, that is C of s divided by R of s input by output by input is equal to omega n square divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n square. Now what is zeta? Zeta is nothing but a damping ratio. Before going to the damping ratio, we should understand what is damping. Every system has a tendency to oppose the oscillatory behavior of the system, which is called as damping. The damping is measured by a factor or a ratio called damping ratio of the system. Now, in a simple way, if you want to define damping ratio, is a measure of the degree of resistance to change in the system output. And what is omega n? Omega n is nothing but the undamped natural frequency of a second order system, which is the frequency of oscillation of the system without damping. That indicates that zeta is equal to 0. No damping means the zeta term is equal to 0. If zeta is equal to 0, the system will oscillate with maximum frequency as there is no opposition from the system. Hence the system oscillates freely and naturally under such condition. This condition where zeta is equal to 0 is called the natural frequency of oscillation and denoted by omega n rad per second. Now let us consider an example. Determine the undamped natural frequency and damping ratio of the following second order system. So undamped means the value of zeta we need to know. Now C of s divided by R of s is equal to 4 divided by s square plus 2s plus 4. So this is the given second order system. Why it is second order? If you observe the characteristic equation, the highest order in the characteristic equation is 2s to s square. So it is a second order system. Now I can apply this standard formula only for the second order system, not for the first order or the higher order system. And first thing is I need to compare the given equation with the standard equation. If the format is same, then it is easy for us to solve the problem. If the format is not same, then I need to make sure that the format looks like the standard format. Now in this case, I can easily compare these two equations and I can say that omega n square is equal to 4. So omega n is 2 rad per second. You just observe everything is in radian per second. Next is if I equate the denominators of the two equations, I get 2 zeta omega ns is equal to 2s. So 2 gets cancelled, s get cancelled. So what is left out? Left out is zeta omega n is equal to 1. And we just found out that omega n is 2. So what is zeta? Zeta is 0.5. Again, the moment it is undamped, it indicates that zeta is almost equal to 0. Now let us consider example number 3 for the second order system described by a closed loop transfer function. Find omega n and zeta. So the given transfer function is 24 divided by 4s square plus 12s plus 256. So the first thing that we need to do is it in the standard format? So when you compare this equation with the standard format, it is not in the standard format. As you can see, the coefficient of s square should be 1, but in this case the coefficient of s square is 4. So we need to divide by 4. So the value I get is 6 divided by s square plus 3s plus 64. Now since now it is in the standard format, I just need to compare with the standard equation. So I know that 64 is nothing but omega n square, and I know that 3s is nothing but 2 zeta omega n is nothing but 3. Next, but when you compare 6, now in denominator I have 64 as omega n square, even in the numerator I have 6 as omega n square. Always go with the denominator to find the value of omega n and not the numerator. Numerator may have a different value. Now since numerator has a different value, and when we substitute, when we try to find omega n, I know that omega n square is 64. So omega n value is 8. Now in this case, omega n square is equal to 6. That doesn't mean that omega n is root of 6, which is wrong. So the second is 2 zeta omega n is equal to 3. So what is zeta? Zeta is 0.8. Now this is a very important equation. The numerator k is the gain, some gain, multiplied by the natural frequency is nothing but equal to 6. You need to consider this equation. So the k value is nothing but 0.75. Now this is a very important slide for second order system. Now if I want to know the variation of zeta, that is the damper ratio, then I should know the roots of the equation of a standard second order system. So the second order system transfer function is this, that is C of s divided by R of s is equal to omega n square divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega n s plus omega n square. Now the stochastic polynomial of the second order system is s minus s1 s minus s2, because there are two orders, so there will be two roots. Now if I use the formula, that is minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac to find the quadratic roots divided by 2a, then the roots that I get is minus zeta omega n plus or minus omega n square root of zeta square minus 1. Now this is a very important roots for understanding second order system, for understanding damping. Now zeta is a very important parameter to understand in the second order system. Now if zeta is greater than 1, it indicates that it is overdamped. If zeta is equal to 1, it is understood that it is critically damped. If zeta lies between 0 and 1, it is underdamped. If zeta is equal to 0, it is no damped. So unit step response of second order system when zeta is greater than 1, that means overdamped. If it is overdamped, then there exist two roots in the stochastic equation S1 and S2 are real and distinct. That means we already know the stochastic equation, that is S1 and S2. Since there are order is 2, I will have two roots S1 and S2, and the formula that we just saw was this, that is minus omega n zeta plus omega n square root of zeta square minus 1. The other one is minus omega n zeta minus omega n root of zeta square minus 1. So if I substitute values greater than 1 at the point of zeta, then S1 value will come to the right hand side, that is RHS, and it is real values, not imaginary. These values are real values. Now for an example, let us take T of s is equal to 2 divided by s square plus 3s plus 2. So what is the formula? Transfer function is nothing but C of s divided by R of s is equal to T of s. So if I rearrange this equation in terms of C of s, that is output. So output is equal to input multiplied by transfer function. So they have already given the transfer function, that is the output. So I just need to multiply it by the input. Since it is unit step, I just need to multiply it by 1 by s. So I get 1 by s plus, if I use partial fraction, it is 1 by s plus minus 2 divided by s plus 1 plus 1 divided by s plus 2. So you just need to divide it. So for this I have stochastic equation, one I get plus 1 and the other is plus 2. So if I use Laplace inverse for that, I get the equation as 1 minus 2 into e power minus t plus e power minus 2t. And as you can see, both have the power of e power minus. That means it's a stable system. If it was plus, then as I increase the value of uh, t, then it is exponential rise, so it will go to instability. Since in the equation the transient part, that is this part, having negative sign, it is a stable system. Now when zeta is increasing greater than 1, the time duration taken is 18 seconds for a particular for this system to be stable. So in this case, when unit step response of a second order system, when zeta is equal to 1, that means critically damped, the two roots of the characteristic equation S1 and S2 are real and equal. That means when I substitute zeta as 1, I get the real values of this and both roots are equal. So both S1 and S2 will be minus omega n, where omega n is the natural frequency. Since it is negative value, the values of roots or the poles will come to the left side, RHS. And since both are same, you have these values. Now let us take an example. So there is a problem on transfer function given, that is 5s plus 4 divided by s square plus 4s plus 4. So again the output is nothing but, I just need to rearrange this equation in terms of output. So I get 5s plus 4 divided by, since it is unit step, I am dividing it by 1 by s multiplied by s square plus 4s plus 4. So if I use partial fraction to this, I get 1 by s plus minus 1 by s plus 2 plus 3 by s plus 2 whole square. So 1 by s is nothing but, if I use Laplace inverse, I get the output c of t in this order. So when zeta is equal to 1, that is critically stable, the duration of time is just 8 seconds compared to the previous. When zeta is greater than 1, that when the damping ratio is greater than 1, it is taking more time, the output signal is taking more time to get stable, but in this case the output response is faster. So for a unit step response of a second order system under damped response, that is zeta less than 1, we get two roots S1 and S2 as complex conjugate. That is two poles of the system are complex conjugate. So if we keep on substituting zeta value less than 1, I get complex conjugates. And there's a very important formula here. Omega n is the natural frequency multiplied by root of 1 minus zeta square is nothing but omega d. Now we take an example. The output transfer function is 4 divided by s square plus 2s plus 4. Then I just require the output response of the system. So I have 4 divided by s into s square plus 2s plus 4. So if I use partial fraction, I get 1 by s plus minus s minus 2 divided by s square plus 2s plus 4. So for the underdamped, when zeta is less than 1, I get the function something like this. That is c of t is equal to Laplace inverse of c of s, which is 1 minus 1 divided by root of 1 minus zeta square e power minus zeta omega n t into sine omega d t plus theta, where theta is root of 1 minus zeta square divided by zeta. As you can observe, when the damping ratio is less than 1, I get the output response like this. And under the last case, undamped response when zeta is equal to 1, the system simply oscillates. And from the characteristic equation, the roots S1 and S2 are imaginary poles as shown in the diagram. Now, and a simple example is T of S is equal to 4 divided by S square plus 4. So if I apply partial fractions to it, I get 1 by S plus minus S divided by S square plus 2 square. So the applying inverse Laplace transform, I get 1 minus sine omega n t u of t. As you can see, it is oscillatory, so I am getting a sine function. Now let us consider the variation of zeta for a particular control system. When zeta is equal to 0, it is nothing but natural frequency. The system simply oscillates. As we increase the value of zeta, the oscillation reduces and it reaches the steady state value. Now, what do we understand from this is when the system is underdamped, there is oscillations, something like this, and the poles that we get is to the left hand side. The system is stable, but we get conjugates. When the system is undamped, then the system simply oscillates and the poles are at the, it's a conjugate poles and it lies at the origin. Now if the system is overdamped, the system takes some finite duration of time to get to steady state level, and under this condition the system is a real part and it lies to the left side. And if the system is critically damped, then it takes very less time duration to reach the steady state, and there will be a repeated real numbers across the part. So this is for zeta less than 1, this is for zeta equal to 0, this is for zeta greater than 1, and this is for zeta equals to 1.